Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Video Game Fight School channel. Today we're going to be talking about something that I feel is important in terms of Batman Arkham game story writing. And I think we probably might be seeing some level of it in the so-called leaked Arkham game or Batman game, depending on when and where it's coming from. But like we all know, Warner Brothers Montreal is rumored to be working on this so-called Batman game that's supposed to be a soft reboot. So this brings an opportunity for us to look at, what these Arkham games have actually done in the past, because that's what we have. So one of the good things about these games and their story writing is the amount of revenge flicks that you can find in it. Revenge stories, vengeance stories, or trying to take back, what Batman has lost, or trying to, disrupt Batman or come back at Batman for something he has done. That's usually the way the villains have always, eventually developed to be. Their stance, Batman did something to them, or Batman kind of ruined their operations, or, in some cases, Batman, took them down and kind of, ruined everything that they were doing, and then they want to come back at him. Now, one of the best revenge stories that the Batman universe, I think, has is the story of the Red Hood. And they tried to play this in Arkham Knight and bring it to light, but the only thing was they just had a lot of opportunity that was missed in terms of how they could have made the story a lot more emotional. Now, if you play the game completely, you're going to see Batman seeing some visions about how the Joker tortured Jason Todd, and how, all of this stuff came to play that brought Jason Todd to a place where he felt like he had to, pretty much take out Batman because he felt Batman had abandoned him. You go back and watch the animated series, Batman Under the Red Hood, you're going to see this depicted also very well, making the story kind of one of the best and most dynamic aspects of it. Now, this soft reboot, I wonder what timeline Batman is going to be in. Some people have said it's going to be in a different universe. I don't know. I don't think that's necessarily the case. I think it's going to just be in a timeline that is of its own unique, placement of characters and placement of events. But if they can bring this kind of dynamic into it, because, we're looking at saying, okay, Batman is probably going to be, fighting against the Court of Owls, and you're going to be able to play as the Bat family. Then if you look at the 52 comics, if you look very closely, you're going to find out that actually, the Red Hood is part of the Bat family that Batman actually tries to seek for help. And if he's trying to seek this Bat family for help, Jason Todd is actually a member and is part of this entire, coalition. And how are they going to bring this Jason Todd, an established Red Hood, to come and help and aid Batman? Is he going to be in a thing where, he and Batman have already gone through their issues, because the only reason you have the Red Hood is because of the events that led to him, where, if you, depending on what timeline you want to go for, maybe the timeline where the Joker, takes him and Joker kills him, and then, he's resurrected by the Lazarus pit, that's Ra's al Ghul, maybe, because if you look on the symbols, you see the League of Shadows there. So perhaps, or Ra's al Ghul, depending on how you say it. So it might be that timeline, or it might be that placement of events that actually brings this Red Hood forward, if there will be Red Hood in the game. Because if you look at it, like I said, if you go back to the graphic novels, you're going to see that Red Hood is a part of the Bat coalition that Batman is tapping to get his agenda run, to be able to protect Gotham. Because, this Court of Owls, they're like a swarm. They are overwhelming the Batman. It's kind of their agenda, but the Bat family steps in to help. Or could it be another version, or another series of events where, instead of Jason Todd actually dying in the hands of Joker, somehow he survives, and then maybe he and Batman have a little bit of some issues, and then they go back to make up, and then Red Hood gets a change of heart and says, what, I might as well help Bruce Wayne. I don't think he was doing everything perfectly. Because one of the things that we know is that Bruce Wayne has a terrible propensity to be a good father figure, if because of his life, because of his troubled past. He's failed a lot in his attempt to be a father to both Damian Wayne and even to Jason Todd. In fact, with this Court of Owls series too, you also see him have an altercation with Nightwing, with Dick Grayson himself. And so you're going to see a lot of these inner family dynamics show up in the different series. And I'm hoping that if they bring the game to have this, that we see some level of this, because the internal conflicts, I think, are also as interesting as external conflicts. One thing about the Bat family is they're not perfect. Every single member of the Bat family has been scarred in some way or the other. If you look at even, Mr. Damian Wayne himself, his mom is literally an assassin's daughter, one of the most, psychopathic, grandpas that he's got. You look at, what's his name? William himself, Dick Grayson. You see he also had a past with the Court of Owls. You look at Jason Todd. I think the only person that's largely, for the most part, unscathed is Tim Drake. He's like that one of the perfect kids in the Bat family. But then you look at Barbara Gordon. The way she becomes the Batgirl is because the Joker actually goes after her in The Killing Joke, and even Arkham Knight, where they actually depict that. Before then, if you look at the comic and animated series, she does get some expensive surgery done by Batman's own funding, and then is eventually able to gain her walking back, and then is the Batgirl. So every member of this family has been scarred like crazy. Even Jim Gordon himself, I can call him a part of the family. Maybe even Catwoman, she's just on a path where she's more like an anti-hero or something. But this is where I think the Bat family remains a very strong unit, and I think that's the best selling part of the entire Batman franchise. Unlike Spider-Man, the character himself has all of this embodied in him. Internal conflicts. He's poor. He's trying to protect his family. He doesn't have all the resources that Batman has, but Batman has all this stuff. He seems like he has it all, but life is so imperfect, and everybody around him is so broken, and everybody at any point can be broken or can be affected by his lifestyle, and then they continue to add in number all the time. So this is one of the good things about revenge, storylines that need to come into play. So how are they going to depict this in the game? I think it's something that we need to kind of be on the lookout for, because if they do it right, you're going to have a story that is just captivating. You see, sure, gameplay can be 100% great, just like Arkham Knight. Gameplay was pretty much the most polished of any of the Arkham games, but then the story was just kind of like, well, what's going on here? It just seemed like everything was all over the place. But then you look at Arkham Origins, gameplay was not as polished as Arkham Knight. Gameplay was even a little bit subpar to Arkham City, I will say, just a little bit subpar. But the story and the plot and the villains and the characters and the compromises and the conflicts, both internal and external, all made this game to be, in my opinion, one of the best story-driven games in the Arkham series. It's just what it is. People may say, this is not the case, but, thinking about it and looking at the way the gameplay progression goes, you can definitely tell that this is one of the most fun games to play, because you get to deal with the characters on a whole different level than you did in the other Arkham games. So I wanted to make this video because it's more of a story plot, coverage overall, and I'm really excited to see what Warner Brothers Montreal is going to be putting out. I think this studio, has what it takes. We're just, really hoping. Fans are excited, and I hope you stay tuned on the Video Game Fight School channel as we bring more of this content to you guys. Hit the subscribe button if you enjoyed the content. Let me hear what you think in the comment section, and I guess I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.